That's interesting. Okay, so how are leads generated? Because I think when you mentioned you only take 2% uh, of all the leads, like you vet all of them and you take only 2%, you only pick the best. So that means you gotta have large enough leads in order to funnel those, big wins. So how are leads generated?
Yeah, that's a great question. And like many investments, it all comes down to deal flow. So you can really just pick the best of the best. We generate leads a few ways. We do a lot of digital marketing that are aimed at the patent owners, and no other fund does that. So we go right to patent owners to see find ones who feel that their patents are infringed. We also have contacts we have salespeople or lead generators in the United States, Israel, the UK, and Europe, looking for small companies or individuals who feel that their patents are infringed. And also, frankly, I speak a lot around the world on these issues, and just through those contacts, the leads come in. But again, it's important to note we don't really have competition in this space, and because of that, we just naturally get a lot of deal flow. As I said, at some point, I think it'll be more difficult to generate leads. Once the this little niche industry becomes more competitive. But right now, we're really the only ones playing in it.
Got it. So quite a few questions from what you just said. So number one, if you're why are you generating leads from outside of the US? Can you guys take on cases
Yeah.
from outside of the US?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're really looking for U.S. patents, and we find that individuals and companies all over the world get U.S. patents because the United States is such a large market, and the U.S. Patent system is stronger than most other systems, like in Europe and East Asia, where you can get a lot more damages and there's more flexibility in the U.S. patent system. So companies operating in Europe, or Canada or Asia or Israel will often get local patents, but then they'll get corresponding patents in the United States, and that prevents others from copying the technology in the US, which is the big market where these companies need protection. And a lot of times, these overseas companies, find US litigation rather expensive compared to local litigation. And so they kind of get sticker shock in the US. So they're very amenable to having us finance the cases.
Okay, so what you're telling me is regardless where the plaintiff's coming from, as long as they have patent infringement in the US, they can sue.
Yes,
And
yes. It doesn't matter where the plaintiff is located. They just need to have a U.S. patent. The defendants have to be all located in the U.S. because the infringing activity has to be in the United States. But the plaintiffs can be located anywhere.
okay, what about, let's say, if a big tech company's headquarters is not in the US, but their operating arms or whatever are operating in US. Are they
Yeah,
suable? Can you sue them?
yeah. Any infringing activity. So if they make, use, or sell or offer to sell the infringing product or service in the United States, they're infringing, and we can sue them in the United States. Nearly always they have a local office where where we're able to sue them in that jurisdiction. But the key is that the infringing product or service occurs in the United States, and that's the infringing activity. It doesn't matter where the defendant's headquarters are located.
Got it. Okay. You also mentioned you guys are the only firm that goes directly to consumers. To me, it's like direct to consumers because
Yeah.
directly go to patent owners. Then how are other patent litigation financing funds get their deals? Like, why is nobody going directly to the patent owners?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, we're the only fund that really specializes in patent cases. There are a handful of other funds that will do patent cases, but they're not really, they don't only do patent cases. And they typically just wait for law firms to bring them cases. So a law firm may be approached to do a case, but their client can't pay for it. So then they'll go to the other funds and ask them, say, hey, here's a case, it's a great case. Will you pay my bills? We don't like those cases. We don't like that model because typically it's very binary. There's usually only one defendant, you know, who's infringing, right? Also, you know, the law firm is typically just trying to get their bills paid. You know, we prefer to do the diligence on our own to make sure the case is strong. So we just find that that traditional model is very flawed and too risky for us.
Mhm. Yeah, I can see how that plays out because the law firm usually is big, right? Like usually patent law
Yeah.
firms are pretty big. So if they're approached by clients, first of all, they probably they don't have like hundreds of clients just like come their way. So their leads to start with is quite small. And then once they funnel through to um other big law firms, I guess, big funding for litigation and financing funds, then the number are even smaller. And then yeah, I think the the law firm just wants their very expensive hourly rate to get paid. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a, you know, a lot of those folks are billing at more than $1,000 an hour, which makes it incredibly expensive and much too risky for us to get involved in.
Right, right. So roughly how many leads are you getting yearly basis?
Oh my gosh, we get over 1,000 leads,
Okay.
more than that, maybe a couple thousand a year. We, you know, oftentimes five, six, seven a day. It's you know, we can about two-thirds or three-quarters of them we can get rid of very quickly, that it doesn't meet our criteria. And then the remaining quarter we have to spend more time on. But with us, again, it's infringement has to be very clear. The patent has to be well written, not just by a patent attorney who gets patents, but someone who understands litigation. So the patent has to be written in a sophisticated way to show that infringement is very clear, and there have to be multiple defendants. And so
Mm.
there aren't, you know, only after we, you know, do the diligence, it comes into about 1 in 50 that we see. Do we say, wow, that's a really good one. We'll do that one.
Okay. So if it's 2%, you get like maybe 1,000 plus, then you're taking about 20 to 30 cases a year, like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's maybe at this point a little more than that, you know. And then it's probably Um, yeah, yeah, about yeah, 25 to 30 cases a year. And then each case, remember, has, you know, six, seven, eight infringers. So by specific case,
Wow.
it's a very large number.
That's right. So essentially the math goes, like if you're taking, let's say, 30 cases a year, each case has having multiple defendants, let's say five. Each case can, so altogether you're looking at 150 to 250 cases.
Yep,
Okay,
that's
okay, that
correct.
makes
That's
sense.
correct. And
So
that
so you
spreads the risk. It spreads the risk
yeah.
a lot for our investors. Yes.
So is the investor's money on the 30 cases, or is the investor money on the 150 to 250 cases?
Yeah, well, typically what we've done is we create a fund. You know, I think we're on fund 9 at this point. We'll create a fund and that will support 6 case groups. And each case group has 5 or 6 or 7 defendants. So a fund will support 40 separate cases. And we find
Wow.
that really spreads the risk in an optimal way, you know, to get those investors their money back in the 30% return.
Got it, got it, got it. Makes sense.